Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners. Today we're going to tie an olive GSS pheasant tail. The hook I have in the vise is a 1 extra long size 14 Nymph hook. I have a 3mm copper bead on there. I'm going to start out by adding extra weight. I'm going to use 10 thousandths lead wire. And the amount of weight that you put on your nymphs, it really depends on the depth and speed of the water you're going to be fishing. So it's a good idea to make your nymphs with different amounts of weight on them. And you can easily just change the color of your thread so you know what size weight is on there. I'm going to use brown thread, and this is 70 denier. I'm going to start that thread behind the lead wraps, and I'm pushing the lead wraps into the bead. And then we're going to take our thread to the back where it would hang at the barb. Sometimes it's a good idea to tie nymphs with no weight at all. No bead, no weight, just tie them on the hook and fish them just in the film. And we brought our thread back to just about where it would hang at the barb of the hook. First material we're going to tie in is extra fine copper wire. And I can break this with my hand, that's how fine it is. We're going to start out, I'm going to hold it underneath the lead wraps, and the thread brings it up to the side, and we're going to keep that thread on the side, or the copper wire on the side. Just going to put a few wraps here just to kind of make a little bit of a taper going up to the lead wraps. For our tail and abdomen, we're going to use the pheasant tail center. This is actually a side, but it's close to the center. You can see these barbels here. This is what the center looks like. We're going to take off about 8 or 10 of those. And we want that tail to be about 1/2 to 3/4 the length of the hook shank. Go ahead and tie that in. Lift this up and wrap back there a little bit so you have it starting at the very beginning. Going to add wraps to get rid of that lump that it just caused. And bring that thread up to just about to the lead wraps. I'm going to put my hackle pliers on there because this is short. Going to twist the pheasant tail there a little bit and start wrapping. We come up to the abdomen, we're going to tie that off. And we can remove the excess. Now we're going to take our copper wire and we're going to counter wrap that, being the opposite direction we wrapped our pheasant tail. And this crosses the pheasant tail with the copper wire and adds more security, rather than wrapping it in the same direction and it would just fall in between the wraps. just secure that quickly and break that off. Now I'm going to take another section of the pheasant tail, and I'm going to take more this time. I'm going to take about a ½ an inch worth. I'm going to line up those tips. I'm going to hold those tips tight, and then I'm going to remove the pheasant tail. Now the tips are lined up. And we want our legs, this is going to make our legs, we want our legs to be about half the length of the hook shank, or maybe about the length of the thorax. I'm going to bring my thread up to the bead, and our legs we're going to let stick out past the bead. And then when we wrap it in, you'll see it's already starting to split. We're going to wrap our thread back to the abdomen. Now I'm going to take the GSS Olive. You can see the olive has a lot more copper in it than the peacock. I'm just going to take it and just break off a little piece of it. Just grab it there and just break that off. And this is going to make our dubbing. That's probably even too much, but when you dub the GSS, it's a little difficult, but just keep going on it, and it'll get on there. I'll put a little bit more on there. I'm going to take that and wrap that GSS for the thorax. Bring that right up to the legs. Now we can take our legs and divide them, split them evenly. Now that I got them split there a little better with one wrap, now I'm going to take my pheasant tail, my Wingcase, I'm going to fold them over, and this will help to divide them also. I have that Wingcase folded over. I'm going to fold those legs back and kind of push them down to the side where I want them, and then we'll secure that Wingcase. Go back slightly, and that will keep those legs going towards the rear. I'm going to just remove the excess. Now when I dubbed the GSS, some of it fell on the table. So I'm just going to take that little bit that fell on the table, and I'm going to dub that back on. Just need a small amount here. This may even be a little bit too much. We just want enough to hide the thread. Just make a small noodle there. I got one wrap around there. Now I'm going to take my whip finish, finish that off with 3 wraps, pull out those strays, go ahead and remove the excess thread. I'm just going to trim off some of those stray GSS fibers. And here we have an olive GSS pheasant tail nymph. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.